In this special edition of tutorials, we will do modeling from a drawing, create fillets, emboss and deboss, add appearances, and so much more. So welcome to the Learn It channel, Lesson 10A. For our first lesson, we are going to be focusing on the minifigure and the head. So, we've got a lot to learn in this lesson. Let's dive right on into it. First and foremost, let's create a new design. We're going to save it. Make sure to save all of our parts for this series of tutorials under one folder. So here, we're just going to name it Head and save. Now, let's go to our unofficial drawing here. So this drawing might look complex, it might look detailed, and it is. If this is your first time tuning into the Learn It channel, Learning Fusion 360, I would wholeheartedly encourage you to go back to Lesson 3, Touring the Interface. There's a link on top of the screen right here. But if you need a refresher on drawings, click on Lesson 5, an Intro to Drawings. Do all the lessons up to Lesson 9, and then this drawing will not look so intimidating to you anymore. All right, let's get started. So the fundamentals for drawings is we need to break down all of the complexities into very basic shapes. So let's just start on our 3 cylinders. We're going to do the top section here, the middle section, and the bottom. The top section is 200 thou in diameter, and we have a height here. We'll need to do a calculation. The second main diameter is 400 thou, and here we have based off of the bottom of the head, off the neck. And then the bottom diameter, we need to look at our bottom face or bottom view. And here the diameter is 0.285. So let's start off with that and this dimension right here, 50 thou height. Let's go back there. We're going to create a sketch. And we're going to call it 0.285. Finish sketch. And we can extrude to 50 thou. There we go. Let's go to our next one. Again, it is 400 thou, and it's 0.35 from the bottom. So we're going to create another sketch on that surface. I'm going to go up to 400 thou. And we can do the math in our head if we'd like. We're going to select those 2 entities. And we're going to go up 0.3. Why 0.3? Well, because we're basing it off of this face, which is 50 thou. We can always measure it. There we go, 0.35. Okay, let's do the top of the head. And again, this is 0.425 from the bottom, and it's 200 thou in diameter. So let's do that. Oh, that's way too tall. I did a miscalculation. 475, and it's supposed to be 425. 50 thou too long. Okay, so it's only 75 thou on that top there. Perfect. So we've got the basics for the head. Now we would like to put in all the fillets. So let's do that. Here we have a 40 thou, and it says 2 times. So we've got 1, 2. Remember that this is not a 3rd and 4th fillet. This is actually a diameter, so it goes all the way around the part. So 40 thou and 40 thou. The top is 15 thou, and the bottom is 5 thou. So let's do that. Let's do all this in one feature. So we're going to go to Fillet, click our 40 thou first, add a fillet. This one's going to be 15. And then we're going to add another fillet down here at 5. And actually, now that I look at it, we have 2 times here at 5 thou. Why? Because we actually have the hole in the bottom of the head. So this is 200 thou by 0.3 deep. So let's just draw that really quick. And we're going to go back in time here before the fillet. So let's just draw that. 200 thou, finish sketch, and this is 300 thou deep. There we go. we're going to bring our feature back into focus with our timeline, and we can actually add that second radius on the bottom. How do we do that? Well, make sure to select our selection set, which is our third one. And then on a Mac, hold down Command or a Windows computer Control, and you see all of the fillets, they go back to their original shape, and we can pick our inner edge there. Perfect. So now what's left? We have the face to design. So this is a little bit more detailed, but we can go to Detail A. So if you see this on a drawing, this dashed line with an A, this tells us to go see Detail A. The scale here is bigger than the scale of our drawing. Our standard scale is 6:1, but this is a little bit bigger, 8:1. So again, what does this mean, 6:1, 8:1? Well, this drawing is a legal size paper, and if we were to print this out, these dimensions would actually be 6 times larger than the real thing. So this detail right here, we need to see it a little bit more clearly. So we're going to go to 8:1 scale. There we go. Let's zoom on in here. Now let's start off with the eyes. The eyes are the simplest. So right off of our center point here, we're going to go to 0.225. Our diameter is 0.025, and it's offset from our center line, 0.065. We might be wondering, what is this 0.225? Why are there two of them? Well, this is actually for the center of our arc for our mouth. So this is referring to another dimension. But the things that we need to remember are 0.225, 25, and 65. So here we go. Let's create an offset plane, and we're going to select our XZ plane, and we're just going to bring it out past our part. It can be anywhere past our part. We can resize this plane if we want, but we're actually just going to create a sketch on that plane, and here we go. We can start drawing our features. So let's do that. First of all, we're going to create a construction line right down the center. And remember, construction line, we have to press X. Now we can do our circle. So we've got 0.025. And our dimensions, let's go back to our drawing. 65 off of center, 0.225 from the bottom. So let's D for dimension, click, click, 0.225, and then from here to the center, 0.065. Now it's fully constrained, it's fully dimensioned, so it turns black. Now we can just mirror it, click it, mirror line, center line there. There's our other eye. Perfect. Now let's do the mouth. So we're just going to create a 3-point arc, and let's go 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. Let's go back to our drawing. Now we've got some arcs, our radius values for the arcs. We've got the length of our arc, and we've got the center position. So let's first of all type in our radius value here, our top radius value, which is 0.1. So we're going to go D, select that, and call it 0.1. So here we have our center point now. Remember, we need to anchor our center point to our center line. We can do that by selecting coincident. Now we've got to dimension it off the bottom as well, which is the same as this, 0.225. So D, we're going to dimension that center point, 0.225. Very good. Now we need the length of this. So we actually need to make it so that our points are symmetric to the center line. So let's create a symmetry offset. We're going to click 1, 2, 3. Great. So as you can see now, everything's symmetric, but we need a dimension from the endpoint to the endpoint. So what is that again? It's 0.125. So let's create a dimension. 0.125. Great. So now we cannot change this at all. It's looking great. Now we could create another arc and do the exact same thing, but why not do an offset? we can see that this is an offset of 8 thou. So let's go to our offset feature. We're going to click on it, and now we can create an offset, 0.008. Let's connect those together, and it's finished. So there's two ways of creating our debossing. So that's taking our sketch here and debossing it, or putting an indent into the surface of our part here. So let's look at two of those ways. The first way is we're going to actually go extrude, and let's go 1, 2, 3. And then for our start, we're actually going to select an object, and we're going to select that face. And then the distance. Let's just grab our arrow. We can put in our distance right there. So it's 10 thou deep. There we go. So that's using extrude. There are some limitations with this, which we won't go into detail right now, but let's just go back in time. And instead of using the extrude feature, let's go to create and let's go to emboss. So this is almost the exact same thing, but let's select our sketch profiles, 1, 2, 3, and our face right there. So right now it is embossed, but we want to deboss it. So let's go the other way. There we go. So you can actually see with the embossing, it aligns everything to the center of the face that we selected. And that's why as we extend outwards, well, our center lines, or our axes of each of these features, joins up with the center point of our face. So emboss goes straightly along a vector, whereas emboss and deboss go directly to the center point. So we can select either one. Let's actually keep this feature right here. So we're going to deboss it. Let's just go back into our part, and then our depth is going to be minus 0.01. There we go. Let's go back to our drawing. So we can see here break edges. We've got 0.0025 typical. So this means any of the unspecified or non-specified fillets are going to be 0.0025. So let's do that. We're going to create another fillet. We're going to go into those corners and call it 0.0025. There we go. Let's go OK. Now we're actually going to add just a tiny little bit of fillets here, 1 thou. The reason is when we go to render in the future, it's going to create a lot nicer appearance. There's very few things in this world that have perfect sharpnesses to them. So let's create another fillet, and let's do those edges here. And let's just call it 0.001. So now we're going to add an appearance to our head. We're going to make it a nice glossy enamel yellow, and then our eyes and our mouth a nice glossy black. So click on any face, and we're going to select appearance. So that's A. Now let's search in our library. Let's type in yellow. There we go, enamel glossy yellow. Let's just bring that into our design. And then we're also going to select black. And we're going to look for plastic glossy black right there. Perfect. So you can see the apply to is selected on bodies and components. So if we bring in our yellow, it should add yellow to our entire design. Now we just want to select our faces and add the black to it. So how do we do that? Let's just go close. Let's go up to our selection filter up here. And as you can see, we've got a select all box. We can uncheck it and it will uncheck everything there. Select through means we can select right through our entire part if we want. So we want to leave this on, and we want to select body faces. There we go. So if we go to our right view, we can select right here, and all of our faces now have been selected. So let's go right click, repeat appearance. Now we're going to click faces now and grab our black glossy plastic appearance. And there we have it. the head is complete. Make sure to join the next tutorial where we will tackle the torso. See you then.